Welcome back, everyone. I'm Zell, and this is the Apex, where we've got sharp news. And we're going to jump right into that sharp news today with knife news. And over at Knife News, they have a story and a list of the discontinued Spydercos for this year. And really, guys, this one's a tough one. Spyderco really discontinued some favorites this time. We'll get a little more into that here in a minute. And they also have Ferrum Forge's KeyBar Flipper. Now this is cool. You want to go see the pictures on this one. It is a little Ferrum Forge knife that goes right into your key bar, just like a key would, except I believe it attaches at both ends. In fact, I'm sure it does. And it's a little flipper knife, and that is just, I'm gonna have to buy a key bar now, I guess, so that I can look at one of these knives. That's a little nuts, but, well, you know. And we have the story that everybody's been asking about. I've gotten several emails and stuff about this one, about the Begg, Todd Begg and Mark, his brother, suing each other. Guys, I don't have any insight. All I can say there is, whenever you're doing this sort of stuff, you know, working with relatives, brothers, and stuff, it can be tough. You need to know the other person, and you also need to protect yourself. Now, I do work with my brother, and my brother and I have worked together on this kind of stuff for a very long time, so there shouldn't be any Todd knife and tool drama. And moving on along, still in the courts, we have eBay settling the counterfeit lawsuit with Spyderco. Very little information on that one, but also Microtech is suing another retailer. So I'm happy that they're out there doing this. I really am, because the clones were running rampant, and they were becoming in-stock U.S. items, and that's, I don't like it at all, but it's getting blatant and obvious whenever they become in-stock U.S. items, and people are able to get them on 2-day Amazon Prime shipping and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully these lawsuits will stem some of that. At least I hope so. And from Knife Informer, we have a review of the Olamic Swish. Yeah, kind of a neat name. And from BladeReviews.com, they get a look at the CRKT Pilar. One of the better knives this whole year. I know it's a bargain knife, but wow, the design. And then from Stazza23, we have a group review of the Wii Natida. And there's several Wii reviews in here, so just hang on, we'll get through them. He also has the evolution and future of the Koenig Arius. And that's a knife I will own at some point. But, you know, I end up having to buy a bunch of belts or a heat treat oven, or yeah, that's why I don't have an Arius. And speaking of that, for you guys that have your name on the quasi list for a Shiver, this morning I dropped those guys off finally with the engraver. So those knives should be engraved by next week. I've got 3 or 4 little sheaths to make and some paracord to cut and sharpen them up, and they should be getting emails in the next 2 to 3 weeks. Hopefully starting in the next less than 2 weeks, we should get some emails out about some of those. It'll take me some time to get them all sharpened. That's a dozen knives. So anyhow, moving on along, Fun with Knives has an unboxing of the knife that his viewers chose. I'm not even sure what it is. I'm going to have to go watch the video. I didn't want to know because I might yak it on the Apex, so I'm going to have to go watch it here in a minute. And he also has an overview of the Wii 605 and 609, and if you have not seen the 609, we've all seen the 605. It's that little one that they did the auction on or not auction, but sold on Instagram. The 609 is it's even odd for Wii. It's a big, nasty Wharncliffe, and it's cool. Anyhow, EDC with Aaron hits us up with the Wii 703. That is probably the most EDC normal knife that Wii makes in the 703. And I'm going to stop now, go see what Aaron has to say about it. And Cedric and Natida Outdoors, Pete hits us up with the Kizlyar Supreme Prime Review and Steel Test. And he also gives us an edge retention test on 12C27. Pretty cool, and you know, as always, Pete does a great job. And then from Nick Shabazz, we get the Hogue X5 pocket knife. And I've got to go watch that one again. I was kind of doing some other things when I was watching it. Those are interesting knives, but man, they look big. And I don't remember exactly what Nick said about it. I'm going to have to go back and watch it again. And we also have, I told you that Spyderco discontinued a bunch of knives. Well, they discontinued the Slysz Bowie. So there's a full video of Nick bawling his eyes out called Mourning the Discontinued Slysz Bowie. So you probably want to go watch that one, maybe download it or save it or screen cap it or something before Nick comes to his senses and shuts the video down. And then Jake over at Cutting Edge gives us a look at the Boker Plus Brad Zinker designed FR Cocobolo. And I like the Urban Trapper designed by Brad Zinker. It's a nice lightweight knife. It's kind of something that you can wear in slacks, and it's got a deep carry pocket clip, so whenever you're out amongst the people, if you will, it stays nicely hidden away. But it is a light duty knife, and this FR model promises to be a slightly heavier knife, but you'll have to go see what Jake says to know if that's the truth. And Kevin clearly hits us with the 605. Man, that 605, what's that, 3 times? I think that's 3 times. Anyhow, you're full of 605 for the day from we. But he has a different take on it. And whenever I'm looking at this stuff, that's what I'm looking for. People that have a bit of a different opinion on things, and I normally try not to get 3 of the same knife in the same apex, and I'm sorry about that, but it's in here. And finally, Knife Crazy hits us up with the Kershaw Deadline Model 1087. And that's a knife I fully intended to pick up and failed you because, well, knife making and contractors upstairs and... Anyhow, go see what Mr. Knife Crazy has to say about it, and that is Knife Crazy, not Knife Guy. This one really, really is Knife Crazy. At least that's what I wrote down. I hope I got it right. Anyhow, guys, one more thing I want to talk about for just a moment before you run off. Don't. Hang on. Give me 2 minutes. I've had a lot of concern over the past, not just week or two, but over the past probably 2 or 3 months about the channel, about the number of views, number of subscribers, blah, 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 blah. And I really appreciate the concern, guys. But I do this because I like to do it for you. I don't do this because of monetary gains. If I get some monetary gain out of it, that's always wonderful. And really, sometimes I do. But I started this whole thing basically because I was pissed off, and that's a story for another day. But I continued it because whenever I went out there and looked at reviews from all the guys that were doing reviews at the time, there were no specs, or very few specs. Even if they were talked about, it was lightly. There wasn't any real looking at stuff on the knife. It was a here it is, it's cool, or it was a paid review, and I thought I can do better than that. I can bring people an honest review with specs. I can use a caliper, I can measure this stuff, and that's why you've got specs. That's why you have the pause and read cards, because even if I don't talk about the specs, I want you to know that they're going to be in that video. And I want you to have them. And that is one of the reasons I've stuck around. The other reason I've stuck around is, no, I don't make a lot of money, or any money really, off YouTube. The amount of money made off YouTube is a pittance. But the community, and whenever I say the community, I'm talking the entire knife community. Knife makers, knife industry people, from the production side, other knife reviewers, you guys, the ones that are watching these videos. I have made more friends and connections in the knife community in the past year or so. Good connections, happy connections, than I did in any other community that I've ever been in. And the camaraderie of the knife community is something that is special. You know, we may argue a little bit over this or that, or what's great here or what's great there, or where something's made. But whenever it comes down to it, we're a community of people that get along, that share information. You know, there are other makers that share information with me that they could hold secret, but they don't. They share it because they want to lift everybody up. And that is such an awesome thing. And, you know, I've got some things situated where, no, we're not going to be able to do consistently what we've been doing, but we're hopefully going to be able to get out in the shop and do some stuff out there, go through some builds. I've got some antler over here that we may go through a build on, which I have no freaking clue what I'm doing with that, but I watched some YouTube videos, so we're good to go. Anyhow, guys, I just wanted to mention that because so many of you send me an email or a message over on Instagram or something, and, you know, hey man, why don't you have you need more subscribers, or why are you still doing this, man? Aren't you just hurting yourself? And no, I'm not. I rather enjoy it. I love the connections that have been made. I love this community. I love you guys. So here I am, and I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. We're going to change the face of the channel, as has been done since we started. It has evolved, as you know, if you've been watching for a long time, and it will continue to evolve. And you guys have a wonderful day. If you haven't subscribed, liked, or any of that stuff yet, all those buttons are right down there. Be sure to push one before you take off. And have an awesome day, and I'll see you next time.